On today's episode of Anime Afterthought, a certain scientific railgun season 3 episode 17, Precognition. So it looks like we're already bearing witness to seeing how potentially dangerous Indian poker really is. Something as innocuous as wanting the cherry blossoms to bloom all year round literally turns a public park into a powder keg. Thank God for Miyama's Precognition, because otherwise we'd be pretty much fucked. Anyways, last we left off, it was the return of Railgun T, the second half that has been put on hiatus for what feels like years at this point, but we came back in a big way. They introduced not only the adorably cute 4th grader known as Miyama, who has the Esper power of Precognition, but also the Inception-like card game known as Indian Poker, where people are given a glimpse and a chance to experience others' dreams, and those with super desirable ones are called dream rankers. But with today's episode, we focus on Miyama and his ability to foresee the future. But just because he can see it doesn't mean he can actually change it. No, all this time, he's been looking for someone who actually can disrupt, the flow of fate, the flow of destiny. Because up to this point, every incident that he has foreseen has happened. Well, until he met Kuroko. And what's miraculous, they even give us a scientific explanation for why she is able to disrupt Miyama's precognition ability. I mean, they didn't owe us one, but they went at it in a very scientific fashion. I mean, simple enough, instant teleportation is super fucking OP, but they go on to, explain that his is only a Esper ability based on 3 dimensions, why her is actually based on 11 dimensions. My big brain is trying to comprehend how dimensions equate into this, but my small brain's like, well, 11 is more than 3, so yeah, of course she can fucking change shit. And they really do take this opportunity to do so. Miyama is still having these precognition, these photographs developed, and he leaves it up to Kuroko to, fix all this. We see her going through a montage of saving individuals, a little girl from drowning, stopping a jilted lover from stabbing her cheating boyfriend, an escaped crocodile, and it goes on like this. And it really does show that she does have the ability to change the future foretold by Miyama. And this power is really gonna come in handy because Miyama is foretelling that something serious is going down in a public park. Multiple incidents will be arising here, including like an original one before he met Kuroko of a victim engulfed in flames. So the future that he's seeing, some kind of fire or explosion is going to erupt in this public park. So it's up to Kuroko and the other members of Judgment, to stop it. We do see them all, head to the park and do their work. We do see some awesome Esper powers, including, I have to say, fucking X-ray. Bitch got X-ray vision. So I was like, fuck yeah. And once again, I am just so shell-shocked by, you have to realize that just because an individual is of a certain age doesn't mean that they're not qualified. This is the land of Espers, where someone who is as young or younger than Miyama could be so overpowered. So when I see the duo, looking at the trash cans, some big dude and a little tiny kid, like in my mind it looks weird, but the back of my head knows like this is Academy City, so the little kid is probably a super powerful fucking monster or some shit. Like they're not gonna put some rando little kid in Judgment if he can't handle himself. But like I said, it was giving me shell shock. Like, dude, you gotta remember this is fucking Academy City. So basically Judgment has this park, battened down, on lockdown. They can't close it for some odd reason. I don't know if it was up to some kind of governmental branch or some shit, but even Judgment was like, dude, Kuroko has been at the, involved in all these incidents. If she says something's happened at this park, doesn't it make sense? But yeah, they're not allowed to shut it down, but it seems pretty much on lockdown at this point, but still you can't be too safe. So we have Uiharu, who turns, out to be a master fucking hacker, right? Hacking satellites and shit, and given, Kuroko basically a better version, or the version we should have got of Google Glass, who is hooked into this like imaging satellite, and you're able to like look where everyone is in the park itself. Like it's pretty badass, and I'm a little jealous that that's what she got. Meanwhile, we got like a $500 turd. Anyways, this is the part that really gets interesting in this conversation. Is the cherry blossoms are in bloom, and there is a deeper reason for that happening. We see it start to coalesce in this little mini arc into the bigger dream ranker one, especially when we get a God's eye view of the vial that was in last week's episode. But I digress. Everything is looking good, everything's looking secure, but once again Miyama summons Kuroko like, hey, I have more of these images, shit is going down, you have to add these, these are more incidents that happen. And it does show that the fire or the explosion or whatever, the incident is going to be bigger than they originally assumed. But it looks like Miyama's precognition does take quite a toll on his body. We see earlier in the episode that he was having a bloody nose, and once again right here he faints in front of Kuroko, and we eventually take him to the hospital, and we get to see Frog Face Doctor. Like, I love this dude. He needs to be like fucking more in the show. I'm kind of sad that the English dubbed voice actor, he sadly passed away. So like, who are they gonna get to replace him? Like, I don't know. I love this dude. This dude's is fucking awesome. I love his design. But we do get like a little bit of flashback and information. The first is that basically this dude's anemic. His red blood cells are fucked up. It's the common sign of an Esper, overexerting their ability. And we see why he is, why he's overdoing it, pushing himself so hard. In the flashback, we see basically he's getting teased by other kids. His ability is called, very morbid. You're seeing the future happen. It's, very fucked up to see possible deaths. Like, that's your fucking ability. I mean, he takes solace in the fact that his one friend is, this stray dog. But like, yeah, he's pretty much a loner, all because of this power. And this power even makes a giant, a bigger gap, especially in developing childhood and friendship and all the relationships start to form and shit. And it sucks because what happens next is utilizing his ability and, the image processing at this lab. We see that one of the main bullies of his, this girl, is going to be, it looks like squashed by a bunch of fucking, building material. I don't know if it's fucking steel beams or some shit, but it's very weird how she interprets it. She's like, oh yeah, well, you saw this. No, we have to change it. Like, I don't know if she's surmising or basically putting the blame. She does put the blame on him eventually, but it's almost like she's like, well, no, you're making this happen. He's like, no, I'm just foretelling it. But even though try as they might to change it, it was to no avail. I mean, she still succumbed to harm, but thankfully it wasn't worth it. She looks a little battered and bruised, and yeah, she's in the hospital. But once again, like I said, she's blaming him. Like, it's not that you're seeing this, you're actually, you're making it happen. He's like, oh, fuck that shit. But he gets it in his head, like, maybe I am, the cause of all this shit. And what really throws him for a loop is that the next image that is transcribed is of that stray dog. It's like the only thing that gives him solace, only thing that gives him comfort, his only friend, or at least it looks like his only friend, I mean, that's how they played it up to me, is gonna die in a gruesome fucking fire. And that was the initial, that was the one he foresaw before he met Kuroko. So then after he met Kuroko, he is finally, I found the individual who is able to help me change the future. And so far she has, the ability to disrupt his precognition. Obviously, like I said, 11 is more than 3, math wins out, and they're doing, a pretty good job so far. Everyone that was in the park is being saved. Of course, there's still one person or one being left accounted, because at this point, Miyama is just now waking up at the hospital. He runs to the park. He's like, Kuroko, I didn't tell you this. Like, I didn't know if he would just, Judgment would be nice enough to save like just a lonely stray dog, but you know what? She's like, fuck it, we're going in there. Like, I can't believe you didn't think we would save a fucking stray dog. Like, that's what we do. I can't believe you underestimated us. So she goes back in there, with X-ray eyes. They're doing work. Meanwhile, the fire's trying to get under. We see like the vials themselves, although they were like, they have the properties to do the year-round cherry blossoms. Basically, they're like nitroglycerin fertilizer type shit that turn the cherry blossom trees basically into fuses, is how they put it. So the entire park became one fucking bomb. Like, it was completely fucked up. Like, and we see that. I mean, the whole fucking park is just engulfed in flames. I have to say right now, the animation for the fire effects was fucking beautiful. Today's episode looked really, really good. Everything looked fucking stunning. I absolutely loved it. And we do see in the end, she saves the dog for him. They find out about the Indian poker from a couple of the, the people who planted those vials. And the episode does wrap up with a nice one-on-one talk between Miyama and Kuroko. She definitely tells him not to overuse his ability, but once he gets it, matures it and gets it under control, it could be a vital tool if, he ever wants to join Judgment. Look me up in a couple years once you mature a little bit. Of course, he gives her a nice backhanded remark, like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, maybe I don't want to use my powers to help you. He goes, oh no, you will. I see a little bit of myself in you. At your age, I too looked up to a hero for justice. And obviously she's referring to big sis Railgun right there. Like, come on. But yeah, today's episode was pretty fucking stellar. I really did like how it looked. It looked stunning. The fire effects, the whole atmosphere, I really fucking dug it. Miyama as a character, I hope they keep him. I hope they keep him around, not only for his ability, but he seems like a fucking baller. lost. Like, for a little kid to step up like that, you saw the torture he was put through after, you know, Pero the dog showed up on one image. Like, he fucking busted out 50 on the floor, like he just like bleeding from the nose. Like, that little motherfucker is tough. And like she said, one day he could be, you know, very indispensable for Judgment with his precognition ability. But like I said, I think just his character alone shows that he has, you know, recurring character traits. And I think he's a little badass. Also, we gotta learn what the fuck is up with Indian poker. Yes, I mean, it did have the side effect of cherry blossoms in bloom, but you gotta think, A, whose dream was that? And B, was it done on purpose? Was the main goal really to turn the park into one giant fucking firebomb? Like we said, like we talked in the comments last week's episode, like, not every dream is a good one. I mean, there are nightmares, and maybe someone is utilizing Indian poker to put in some subtextual, you know, subconscious, like, what made the individuals want to plant all those fucking vials in the first place. Like, it's weird. I wouldn't say it's mind control. It's almost like subliminal messaging. Like, they're slipping it in, and subconsciously, like, oh, I must go to here and plant vial. But she's like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and do this because I want to see the cherry blossoms. In reality, the plans are much more, you know, diabolical. I can't wait to uncover that. I can't wait to uncover that, because if this arc is anything like the fucking intro, where we see some pretty fucking weird shit, like, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Like, it's off to one hell of a start. So with all that being said, and more Railgun next week, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.